Good morning, my friends. My name is Jalen Alea, and today I would like to share with you the process of ideation that I'm currently moving with. I am upon a journey of creation's mastery. I seek mastery in storytelling and interweaving a tapestry of a multimedial landscape to cast and share ideas. Currently, I've decided to hone focus upon music and choose it as a foundational and fundamental focus that I channel the life force energy prana chi of the now into, so that I may learn to speak it as a language of expression and fluency within this medium, to hear the sounds inside of me and call them through into physical being. Now, there's something that I've found recently that's been very beneficial for life, and I believe that it is a pretty simple idea and mentality that had I been in my younger years, if I were told this and applied this, it would save me so much time, and I feel, though I know I'm everywhere I need to be for this journey in particular, I know that passing it along to my children and young people that I meet, as well as people my age and older, it doesn't really matter actually. I feel like this is a universal key that allows us to cultivate an ability to bring dream into reality. In my eye, that's really the only muscle that really matters. And that's really what makes humans unique, I feel, from animals, is that we have the ability to see and experience something that isn't physically here and rearrange matter so that something new can be. We've departed from the natural chain of evolution where we would build the same thing that our parents would build with maybe micro adjustments throughout a long period of time, where evolution takes play. And now, like, human beings are we're not just creating new and different forms of houses, we're creating all kinds of inventions and experiences and art and creation. So I feel like that's what makes humans unique, is we're the only animals of this realm that are able to rearrange matter in a way which something entirely new is born. Into the simplicity of the periodic table. We do it with elements and we do it with other things. Furthermore, I propose an idea, a process, which is the practice of this very thing, a very simple thing. And this idea quite simply states the importance and the beauty of choosing to do something. I feel like week-long increments work really well. But to just simply choose to do something this week, something that you love, something that you're interested in. You don't have to know what you want your career to be. I think that's an absurd notion sometimes. For many people, that's asked very, very young, and it's crazy. But there's something. It can just be passionate. What do you love to do? I feel like so many of us are, and perhaps just part of human is an experience of feeling like there's something missing in our life. And I feel we can incrementally shift our focus and our lifestyle and our ways from subtle adjustments that take really dramatic changes over time, and these changes can be in a more passionate life. And it can actually be quite simple, I feel. So here's the idea: is take something or choose to do something that you love. we can all find the time and create the time for ourselves to do something. But the idea is to do it. And in doing it, we create a relationship with ourselves where our ability to trust ourselves, each other, is expanded. Every time we hear a dream inside, there's often this inner voice that shuts it down, that says that's not possible, that we can't do that, yada yada yada. And by choosing to do something and doing it, we are cultivating and expanding our ability to trust ourselves and to create a foundation in a relationship in which we know that we will follow through on the things that we ask ourselves to do. And this is really one of the greatest deficits and issues that there is in our world, I feel, is that people, when we say, I want to go work out, it almost doesn't hold any value or credit. It might happen for a day or two, maybe even 3, but at the end of the day, you're going to drop it. And I feel that, not to put you in that bucket by any means, but many people drop it. And this idea has many levels of it. So the first level is just the fundamental idea of doing something, repeating it, and cultivating and creating a relationship with oneself in which we know that we are going to continually follow through with this act, any act. And the cool thing about this is you don't have to know what your passion is in life, what you want your career to be, what you want to do for eternity. It's just what do you want to do right now? What's intriguing to you? And it can be anything. But by the end of the week, to have it done and to make it really clear and not ambiguous as to what that something is. And so at the next week, you can turn around and look and say, did I do that or not? If yes, great, what's next? And if no, why not? But having that conversation, not self-sabotaging, not beating oneself up when the answer is no, is really key and important. It's important to be able to have that conversation, sit down, and just gracefully engage that space and say, okay, well, why didn't it happen? And I feel in that conversation, that's where we grow, and that's the space that we avoid, because it's often like, okay, well, you're a piece of shit for not doing it. So the simple thing is just to essentially bring our awareness and allow it to travel through time. It sounds really simple, but it's actually that the effects of it can be quite profound. If you were to continually have this conversation every week, make it something that's a fundamental part of your being, every week you can do something different, and every week you'll essentially have momentum. Like the first weeks, there might be a few no's. There might be a no, maybe not. But to have the conversation, and just continuing to have the conversation gains momentum. The conversation gains power. And it's instilling and infusing this stream of conversation which lives weekly over a period of months, that changes the direction and the course of our ship in a pretty radical way over a period of time. Because we continue to see something that we're called to and enter it, engage it. We're continuing to add new tools to our toolbox and continuing to expand ourselves into spaces that we did not inhabit before. And when we do this, something really interesting happens. We change ourselves psychologically. Dreams become attainable, more attainable than ever. Because what we're doing is we're exercising our ability to see and do, to see something that doesn't exist and bring it into existence. That doesn't need to be a physical thing into existence, but the body doing a physical thing, the self doing a thing. That's another form of existence that wasn't there before. So the cool thing about this is, as I said, I'm interested in the in mastery of self, mastery of creation, of story, of conversation, mastery of music, art, and movement. And that sounds like a lot of things. That's not even the beginning of the list. Perhaps that's just the beginning of the list. But the key about this thing, this idea, is that it's a point of focus that we are bringing into a temporal paradigm every week, a new temporal paradigm every week. We are consciously and psychologically inhabiting a new temporal paradigm, a new timeline. And this timeline continues to gain momentum of dream to reality, dream into reality, dream into reality, dream into reality, dream weaving. And we slowly cultivate our ability to really do anything, and it doesn't matter what we're doing as long as it is something that it's chosen and that it comes through. And I feel the key is to continually push ourselves to choose something that's a little bit out of reach, but still very attainable, making it easy to win, especially at first, is really key. But continuing to expand our ability to stretch into higher places incrementally, not all at once. In that act of stretching is a psychological motion that exists beyond medium. It doesn't matter what the thing is, the act of stretching into one new domain, reaching a little bit higher than last time, allows one to do the same in a totally different pool. If I really wanted to learn chess, I could say I want to play 10 full games against a computer, against another person. Easy to say yes or no. Did I do that? Pretty easy. You could do that in a week. If I do that in a week, next I want to learn jiu-jitsu. I want to go 4 times a week into this class. Okay. I've cultivated the ability to trust myself that when I say something that I'm going to do it. And the first week that I do it, I could just be like, I want to do jiu-jitsu once. And do it. And then, okay, I want to do it twice this week. And then it's just kind of continually expanding this idea. Cool. So, I find that this is really powerful in establishing a relationship with the self that breathes dream into reality, a trust. And it's also really powerful in discovering our own passions, because it's kind of like each week is a stepping stone into our dreams. Closer and closer we come into the heart of it. Each week we're doing something that is important to us, that makes us feel alive, that brings us joy. And there's joy in the simple act of completion, of its fruition. Of seeing a star and holding it in my hand. And with creative endeavors, for example, or physical endeavors, like this whole idea is about the arrival. It's about showing up. It's about doing the thing. It doesn't matter how well it was done. So many people don't try things because they think they're going to be bad at it, and they don't think that they're going to be bad at it. When people try new things, we are bad at it. It's an inherent part of this process, and an essential process to engage the act of not knowing anything in a new domain and being a complete beginner, because we all have to be there in every new capacity. And the more comfortable we can enter that space as a child with celebration, it's a superpower in itself, because we can literally learn anything. And what I've continued to find moving through this process is that there's parallels. Like what this process is, it's dream weaving, but it's also like learning, the art and science of learning anything. We can really learn anything. This is a way to engage our own infinity and recognize ourselves as the divinity, as creators of a reality that wasn't here before. Co-creating with nature itself. We are the fingertips of her composing herself in a way that she never existed before. Yeah, so I feel this is just like an incredibly powerful invitation, and what it's done for me is it's allowed me to focus my energy. It's allowed me to focus myself in a very tangible way. For a long period of time, I've felt like I've had a lot of creative energy going through me, and I would do a lot of different things. But I recognized that I was doing all of these things with an air of desperation, perhaps. I just had to get this shit out of me, and it was beautiful. It was a part of my journey, a part of my process, for sure. But it also felt like I would do so much and wouldn't be able to say anything. I would have a bunch of different writings just exploded and scattered like a shipwreck upon my computer. Digital art pieces that were just like in drives, and I wasn't doing anything with them. I was moving a lot, but never feeling like I was moving enough. Never feeling like I was doing enough. I was singing, but I didn't have practice in my life. It was all kind of spur of the moment, by the whim, creative impulse. And I found that all of my different creative endeavors, I would learn a lot of different things, and the learning all kind of expanded till it got to a certain point, and then all of a sudden the creative muse would leave into a new domain. And I recognize this to be important for my journey. However, I feel I was very frustrated by an inability to make things tangible. Everything that I was doing was very much on the basis of what I was feeling, and there was no notion of foresight, meaning I want to create a piece, fill the space. I want to learn this thing, do that thing. I would learn things just enough to where they were fun, but I didn't have any of the discipline to enter the deeper waters of any mediums, because it would mean tapping into a different kind of flow that was less orgasmic and more tedious. And so I've found this process to be really great, because what it's allowed me to do is say, like, look, when I make music, for example, I can do a lot with sound. I'm intrigued and amused by everything I can do with sound, but I continually find that there's this threshold, there's this space that I don't know how to go, and I don't really know how to create chords on my own properly. I don't really know theory, and so I wouldn't learn theory, because I didn't think that would be a fun process. I would just try to work around it, and I continued coming into these kind of blocks where there was something that I wanted to do that I couldn't do. There was like a place that I couldn't really touch of me, because I didn't know how to assemble these chords in a manner that made sense. And when I recognized that, I continued coming up to this space and feeling the wall, I chose to walk into it. And just embrace it, because I knew that my whole musical journey would be far expanded if I knew how to create chords on my own. It would be far more fun for me in the long run to sacrifice myself now. And I found that in choosing to do so, and just choosing to learn theory, I've actually found it quite fun and very stimulating in a new part of my being that I just haven't stimulated before. But I had developed my relationship with myself to a degree where I could see some part of me that was missing and choose to fill it, choose to nurture it, choose to grow, to develop. And I didn't have that foresight before. I was quite a slave to the flow, and the flow couldn't go there on its own. The flow needed the foresight. The foresight was like the masculine creating of space for the feminine to flood with life. Yeah. So really I see this process as a creative assassin. And the creative assassin is a multi-dimensional sorcerer who travels from realm to realm, acquiring tools of each realm, learning the dance of these different creatures that exist within each realm, learning the dance, learning how to mirror them, learning how they move, infusing their culture into his body as it lives. And then once it is acquired, once it is known, he can dance with it. He can make it something new. He can infuse the other parts of his knowledge of the other places that he's been and himself. This was also something that I wasn't able really to do. I'd be inspired by pieces. I would look at pieces and draw from their inspiration, but I did not have I had not yet acquired the ability to look at something, mirror it, say like Flume's music, for example. I fucking love Flume's music, but I didn't have the creative endurance or choice to really deconstruct one of his songs and see what's happening in there and mirror him perfectly so that I could then create my own with his acquired knowledge. What I would do is maybe I would be inspired by a song and enter like a track that's kind of like it, but there's something that is really powerful when we engage the space of mirroring, and like it's the study of realism. It's the study of masters. It's essentially the idea that we don't have to rediscover everything on our own. We can learn from those who have come before us and evolve with their knowledge. They've created a shortcut. They've created a map, a roadmap, and we can ride with them into the rivers of ourself. There's a reason that we are inspired by others' work, and that's because we see ourselves inside of it. And when we can mirror this self as it is, we can acquire it as a tool, as an element of us. For me, this took a new level of devotion, a new level of focus and discipline. Normally, when I would be inspired by a piece, I would maybe begin drawing it, and then fuck off into my own domain. And I would say now I'm continually cultivating the ability to mirror a piece exactly as it is. Focus upon the realism and know the lines, know the way, know the rule, and then once I know the rule, I can break it. But if I break the rule before knowing it, I'm diminishing my learning experience, and I'm missing out on the potency of form. Yeah, okay. I feel good with that. the last thing that I'd like to say, which was kind of the beginning that I started this video. Recently I've been realizing that I haven't been physically active in my body in a way that I've really wanted to. And I also recognize that in the past paradigm of self, when I was more active in body, though I was doing a lot of things in body and I was spending a lot of time in my body, I was never quite happy with my practice. It never felt like a practice. I always felt like I fell short of a practice. And that I was never doing enough with my body. And right now, I'm doing way less with my body than I have in a long time. And I'm okay with that. Because I'm focusing upon music. And I know that I'm going to be evolving into a place where right now I'm focusing upon music. I'm gaining fluency and I'm developing a ritual within my engagement with sound. And I feel that there is a practice that wants to share itself with me. I know there's a practice that wants to share itself with me. A way to engage the space that engages the different elements of me and brings them into a new arena. Meaning engage the part of me that loves to play guitar, that wants to learn how to play drums, that loves to play drums, that loves the voice and its evocation out of me, and that loves the strange and obscene experimentation of synthesizers and wavetables that live within this digital realm of music. This is really my primary focus. This is what I'm taking the weekly intention, which I call the Encode, which is essentially the idea of the Encode is that I'm encoding this into my psyche. I'm encoding this into my being. I'm seeing something, choosing to do it, doing it, and then by doing it, it is now a part of me. It is my memory stream. It is a tool in the toolbox that I may paint with. So that's the Encode. Perhaps I should have said that earlier. But right now, I'm focusing the Encode on music. I'm developing my musical ability and engaging a practice and a ritual with which to move with the music. Right now, it is my core primary focus, and I'm happy with that. And I know that every day that I spend doing music, with it as my core primary focus, I'm expanding my ability to have a core primary focus, my ability to follow through upon what it is that I seek to do, and that is important to me now. And I know that there's going to be a time where it shifts from music. That doesn't mean it's a time that I stop playing music. Really, it feels like right now I'm developing a practice and a ritual with which to engage music daily. And once it is instilled in me as a practice and it's rhythmic, it's a process, I know I can shift the Encode into a new direction, continue to do music, and acquire a new space with it as a part of my heartbeat. Meaning, I'm focusing actively and consciously upon music right now. Soon, it's not as I become fluent. It's not going to be something that I need to think about to do. It's going to be a primary means of which I speak. And as it is, I don't need to continue actively doing it anymore. It will be. I can give it to the autopilot, the AI, and I can trust that it will be a rhythmic AI takeover. The autopilot of the ship will continue to create music, continue to explore, experiment, and I can shift the primary focus into a new lens, a new light. And even if it's just a week, or 2 weeks, a month, but soon it's going to be my body as a primary focus. And I know that everything that I do now is exercise for bringing a new wave of discipline and experience to my body when I choose to bring it online. that doesn't mean I can't move in my body at all right now. It's just when it comes to the focus point, it's music. So, yeah, my name is Jalen Allaire. This is the Academy. Here we discuss the art and science of reality, weaving dream into being, the alchemical science of creation. Alright, my friends, I love you. I'm gonna do some shit now. Aram, Beva, Mbueshka, the Des, and Sefar, Mbueshka.